Hello, everybody. So, we were trying to do a live stream today. However, we're having some issues with the Hive HQ internet. I don't know if we got some bugs that are chewing on our internet cords and whatnot. Not sure what the issue is. However, I will be going back and reading the questions that I had started answering in the live and giving the answers to that. And then I will just upload this video on YouTube and ping our community. And, that way we'll still get the answers out that you guys all been, waiting for. So, um, this basic video goes over questions that community members gave us on Discord. If you're a Discord member, you will see some of those questions here tonight. If you're not a Discord member, that's a fantastic way to stay up with the latest and greatest news from Shard Bugs TCG. We will have the link in the description. So the first question tonight comes from Dakota. Dakota is in our Discord community. He's also a very avid player, loves playing, especially at competitive level, and he actually won the 10K Shardbugs event back in November. His question is, what is the current plan for upcoming competitive tournaments? Are 1K still going to be a thing into the new year? Yes, so we are going to bring back the 1K. The 1K tournaments are fantastic tournaments. They're held at the local LGS level. Now, in 2026, there may not be as many 1Ks as there were in 2025. The reason is we are teaming up with a event organizer, and this event organizer is hosting kind of larger scale tournaments, ran a little bit a little more of a professional way. We're going to have probably four large tournaments that we're going to be teaming up with them. Won't disclose who that strategic partner is right now. Just know they're top notch, top tier. They have worked with the likes of Cookie Run and Lorcana to host events and One Piece. So just know that the event's going to be ran very well, and they're going to be larger events, and they're going to be spread out through four different cities here in the U.S. We will let you guys know probably by the end of the month who that strategic partner is, and hopefully giving a little more information on those four events. But yes, we will have 1Ks next year, and we do plan on bringing back the 10K event next year for 2026. Dakota also has a second question. Is best of three going to be a thing? Yes, I personally love playing best of three. We started with best of one due to just like the limited card pool we had with the beginning set, even with the first bounty sets. So the card pool still being a little bit on the smaller side, but we are seeing, games that are taking less turns to win, if you will. So as I believe the card pool increases a little bit, and the efficiency in which games are won are a little quicker, we'll definitely want to bring in the best of three, especially at a larger tournament level. So great question, Dakota. Another question. This one comes from Johnny Boy 314. Are there going to be any mainstream draft events? Great question. Yes, I personally love draft. I love anything sealed, and actually, our first draft event is going to be at the Miami TCG Con, which we'll talk more about a little later. And so we will have a draft event at that convention in Miami. It's actually going to be a fantastically free event, so you can just come and actually get four packs to draft with. So you're going to get free Shardbugs cards. So if you're interested, we'll have more information on that posted on our website, Facebook, and on our Discord. Ian Custodes for Life asks, for those that play casually, are the starter deck boxes going to come out with most sets? Yes, they're actually going to come out with every core set. So we had the beginning set, we came out with some precons there. The first bounty also came out with some precons, both found in our splat boxes. And for our next core set, so set 3 Infestation, we're going to come out with our precons. Now, we did kind of change up a little bit how we're going to present those precons. They're not going to be in the splat box that you guys seen for set 1 and set 2. The reason for it is we came out with a new product line, a new SKU that will bring to you guys the pre-constructed decks actually at a better price point. So we're making the decks cheaper, making the entry point cheaper for Shardbugs and for more players to join the game. But yes, with every core set, there will be pre-con decks. Great question. Bright Entomology asks a few questions. The first one is, what are the next few conventions Shardbugs will be at? The next convention will be just next month. It will be in Miami. It is the Miami TCG Con. That's going to be the weekend of January 17 and 18. After that, I have not locked in the vendor booth of this. The vendor booth go live in a couple days, so once I get in and make sure we basically are secured a spot, we'll let you guys know. But we're shooting for another Miami convention, this time through Collecticon. We were at Collecticon this year. Actually, we started our journey at Collecticon Miami, and so we were there during the launch of the Kickstarter, and we're hoping to be back there. That's going to be February the 21st and the 22nd. The third convention will be the first week of March at Gamma. Gamma is a fantastic way for us to kind of really grow the game. It is a convention for basically TCG folks from the TCG industry. So you're gonna have stores there, you're gonna have other publishers there, distribution, and anybody kind of associated with the whole TCG industry as a whole will be there. And if you're a general public, by all means, if you're in the area, swing by, say hello to us. We are gonna have demos of the game, although it won't be a convention where our focus is really selling product. It's more so for us to get in there, pitch our product to new stores, and hopefully be able to grow the game in a big way at the Gamma convention. So 3 conventions in 3 consecutive months for next year. Bright Entomology also asked, any other artists for upcoming sets beyond Jet? Yes, we recently disclosed that Jet Yates, basically a prominent Menazoo artist, has joined the team. But we also brought on board another, artist, fantastic artist, very talented. They came in at the tail end for set 3, so you're only going to see one piece from them on set 3. But hopefully we get to work together more in future sets and get more art from this artist, and that artist is Seb. Seb is another artist that comes, from the world of Menazoo. Worked with Menazoo for the OG Menazoo and is continuing to do art with Menazoo too as well. Any cool spoilers for upcoming sets or conventions that I can share? Yes, you guys know me. If you guys are active on Discord, I love spilling beans. I have not 1, not 2, but 3 spoilers I'm gonna give to you guys tonight. So the first one is going to be, our first spoiler is a Mars card. It is Mobla's Devoted. This is a fantastic card. It costs 3, 1 generic and 2 meteor. It has 1 devotion, 2/2 for the attack and defense. So it seems at face value a little bit undervalued for its cost, but let's take a look at some of its abilities. The first ability is it has Swarm. Swarm states that if another bug was played this turn, you can actually play this for 1 generic dust less. So Mama's Devoted could actually be played as a 2-drop if it's the second bug you've played for turn, or the 3rd bug. It also states if Mamba is on the field, this bug gains +1/+1 and a +1 devotion value. So it goes from being a mediocre kind of bug in terms of its value as a 3-drop 2/2 1 devotion to possibly a fantastic 2-drop 2 devoter 3/3. So that is Mamba's Devoted. We have another spoiler here. Oh, also this art is fantastic. It's by Ray of Sands, and a little Easter egg. The Maze Boys rule is actually kind of homage to one of my personal favorite computer-based games. So I would love to see if anyone out there kind of gets that reference and lets me know what that reference is. But our next spoiler is going to be Fog of War. So this is a fantastic support card, and a support card that you all need to be prepared to answer, as in you need to get it off the field if you're facing it, and you want to get it out on the field if you're having it in your deck. So it costs 4 to play. It's a support event. Avatar abilities can't be activated. Yes, avatar abilities can't be activated. Now that does include your avatar's abilities. However, maybe you have a strategic game plan all around that, right? Maybe your strategic game plan doesn't need your avatar to kind of take off. Maybe you're trying to stop like an oppressive Mars from the beginning set, pulverizing your bugs in the field. You're going to want to play this card. So Fantastic art by Nelly. And this is a neutral card, so you can slot it in any deck. Now let's move on to the final card spoiler of the night. Lunarian Ritualist. So Lunarian Ritualist costs 3 Luna to play, adds 2 Devotion. It's a 3/3 tunneler that resists flying, but it has a fantastic ability card. It is Exhaust. If you control another worm, target enemy loses 2 Devotion and you gain 2 Devotion. So this is very, very on theme for not just worms, but like leech type worms. And if you look at the art is by Ray of Sands, and it kind of you'll see some characters that we've had seen in the past. I'll let you guys comment below what that bug is, but this is a fantastic way to use Luna's kind of trick abilities and be able to siphon some of your opponent's devotion away. So those are going to be the 3 spoilers of this evening. Hope you enjoyed them. Alright, so we're back from the spoilers. Let's move on to some more fantastic questions. We have a question by Toaster978. What ideas or plans are there to expand locals or more stores to sell and host tourneys? Is there a way one can help? Yes, actually. You can help by suggesting an LGS. If you are, if you love the game and you have cards, take the game to your local LGS store. Talk to the manager or the owner. Show them the card. Maybe have a sit-down play session with them. If they're interested, they can reach us by emailing us at info@shardbugstcg.com. I'll have that posted in the description of this video. But on our Discord, there's also a channel dedicated to suggesting LGS stores. So if you talk to the LGS store near you or a couple of them and they seem interested in the game, you can definitely reach us on Discord, suggest that that LGS on our Discord, and our team will reach out to them. So that's a great question. Another question. This one comes from Nero. Any plans? Any plans to release more playmats accessories featuring Shard Bugs art? Yes, we love playmats. I am a playmat junkie. I collect lots of playmats, probably more than I really need. However, they're just a fun thing to have. With every core set that Shard Bugs comes out, we will definitely come out with new playmats. So our next one is going to be actually for the set 2 First Bounty Standard Edition. We're actually coming out with a playmat with that. That set drops the end of January, so be on the lookout for that coming down the pipeline. We'll have a fantastic art piece for that playmat there, as well as Infestation. Infestation, you'll see a few playmats. One will be the main playmat that we release, and there's a few OGS partners, so that's online retailers that we've partnered up with. One of them being Rudy with Alpha Investments, another one being Philosopher Cards, and one being Jack with a Cardboard Keep. Each one of them will have really fun box toppers, but will also have their own distinct playmat for Infestation. Now moving on to another question. This one comes from Rise Above. Any plans for new card types to appear in the future? We have bug support items action right now, so curious for other potential card types that could be. Now in terms of overall general types of cards, probably not. We're a little open-minded, so we're not going to say absolutely 100% no, but we're pretty set on our action cards, our support cards, our bugs and items. Now what you will see are different subtypes of those cards. One of them we've already teased. There's one item card in our current sets that has the subtype of Relic, but you'll definitely see more Relic type cards in the future. Another different bug subtype will be Berserker. You will see Berserkers make a debut here with set 3 Infestation. Alright. Another question. This one comes from Born of Ragnarok. For the coming competitive season, will any stores that have already had events be repeated? I know this year you tried to make sure that you spread events around so everyone got a turn. Yes, I've kind of already answered that with talking about Dakota's question, but in essence, we will bring back the 1K event. This time, though, there'll be hopefully more outside of Florida as we partner with more outside of Florida LGS stores, kind of spread the love and invade all of the U.S., if you will. But yes, definitely the 1K tournaments will be making a comeback. This next question comes from Hey Zay, who asks, I would like to know what are the plans on a growth side. Do you plan to expand the game to have it run through large game store distribution? We are planning on growth and we are pushing for growth. However, distribution right now is not really for us. We're a smaller scale indie, and we're actually doing self distribution, and it seems to be working out, just fine. Um, we feel like self distro is the best plan for us early on in the game. We give our existing store locations the best kind of like customer service because we answer their emails promptly. We restock them as soon as they ask for it. And we just overall have a great relationship with them. It gives the stores the best margins. It also gives us, the card game publisher, the best margins as well to split with the stores. Really, there's no middleman, if you will. So it's good for strategic growth. We're growing slowly but steadily, which is important. And it's actually, fantastic feedback that we've gotten from LGS. So we're going to continue the self-distro model, for now as long as we can kind of, be able to handle that aspect of the business. Now, if the game goes viral and we just have a really large influx, distribution is definitely an option that we could look into. Jose has a few more questions. One of them is, do you have plans on getting onto TCG Player? Yes, we would love to get on TCG Player. It's not so of a straightforward kind of process, if you will, but we have gotten feedback from TCG Player that we are quote unquote on their radar. So hopefully, sometime in the near future, we'll be on that platform. Another question from Jose is, are you going to have online game store distribution for those without brick and mortars? Yeah, I actually listed a few of them already. So we have product that's sold through Rudy from Alpha Investments, product that's sold with Philosopher Cards, product that's sold with the Cardboard Keep, and we have one Whatnot streamer that we feel has good integrity. His name goes by Zard Exchange. He's selling the product as well through the Whatnot app, but also through his online store. And all these folks are selling product, at MSRP, or even giving a couple of bit special deals for some of their Patreon members. So that's one model that will be able to get to you product if you don't have a brick and mortar next to you. How many sets per year are you hoping to release? We have disclosed our upcoming sets. Next year, we're going to have 3 core sets as well as a mini set. We feel like that's a really great amount of sets per year for us as an indie game. It's not oversaturating, but it keeps things fresh, keeps the meta, changing as well. So yeah, we would like to continue that, in future years of having 3 core sets and a mini set every year. Will there be a weekly play system created, much like Pokemon, to grow individual store play groups on a monthly with promos and prizes? Yes, we actually already have that active. So all of our stores that are with us has a weekly Shard Bugs event, and we have prize support. We also have the Shard Bugs Online League, which is ran through our Discord. So if you want to play online and you don't have a brick and mortar near you, you can go onto the Discord with the TTS app and play Shard Bugs. We have a weekly event there. Another question from Jose is, how is Shard Bugs financed? That's an interesting question. So I self-funded the game. I put in the first 6 figures into the game even before going into Kickstarter. Since then, we had a successful Kickstarter, and right now, the company is strong. We have a positive cash flow. We're profitable. So basically, we're just reinvesting into the game. So with every new set that comes out, and revenues gained from that, the set release sales, we're putting it back into the game. I made sure that when we started Shard Bugs to give it a very healthy set of funds, and the coffers are great. So there's really no real issue in terms of the finances behind the company. But great question. Are there upcoming partnerships with more YouTubers or other companies? Yeah, so we're always open for new content creators and partnerships. Like I've talked about earlier in this video segment, we are working with an event organizer for 2026. We will let that kind of be known publicly towards the end of the month. But yes, we have channels that are going to come on our radar and are talking about shard bugs. And on a kind of daily, weekly basis, I'm actually reaching out to content creators so that we have more content creators covering the game and hopefully getting more eyes on the game as well. All right, now we have a few questions from Swoocube, who is great, up and coming Shard Bugs content creator on his own. He does basically he covers card games in a limited setting. More specifically, like how to make cubes for games and how to play games using those cubes. He asks, now that you have several months of play data, have the factions played the way you originally hoped they would? Actually, they are playing. It seems a little counterintuitive. People thought, like for example, Mars aggro would be, aggro. But Mars was kind of planned to be more of a control deck, kind of controlled through splatting bugs and kind of like keeping your opponent's board state down. And it's actually playing the way we had intended. Um, we have Luna playing with her tricks being in a mid-range tempo, and it looks like it's playing out that way. And we have Soul playing as kind of the true win con aggro deck design. So yeah, so far the three are kind of living up to their expectations. Another question from Swoocube is, do you intend limited to be a competitive format for the game? I would love limited to be a competitive format for the game. Hasn't been pushed so far. It is, just year one. We're a small game, like I said, but we are bringing, draft and sealed into kind of some more larger events next year, and giving that design space some love. Actually, my favorite way of playing, TCGs in general. So, great question. Okay, Swoop asked, "Do you design cards with a draft seal in mind?" Kind of yes and no. We kind of designed things around, certain archetypes that we're shooting for, or we're designing things to make sure that they're kind of balanced overall on how to play. Sealed and draft. There are nuances that make it different. They're for the most part they're less consistent when you make a sealed deck as opposed to a constructed deck. However, power levels are just kind of generally balanced as a whole, and not necessarily to sealed format. However, there's some cards that seem to be okay in constructed decks that become kind of a powerhouse in sealed and plays. Especially like bugs with bigger stat lines, even though they may cost a little more. Bigger stat lines seem to do better in sealed and draft. But there's still like your cheap costing two devoters that are good and constructed that are also good in sealed and draft. Another question from SoCube is, how does the Dust Draft rule impact card design for limited? Um, it's actually intentional. It seems a little chaotic. That's how we wanted our limited to play. It basically makes you think a whole, with a whole different dynamic, right? There's strategies that wouldn't be necessarily viable in our constructed decks that are more viable in limited due to the interchanging and having multiple alliances within one deck. So shard bugs will eventually be kind of multicolored. We have a whole kind of progression plan to get there, but sealed is the way to get a taste for that, now rather than later. So great question. And another question from SweetCube is, are there any cards that have overperformed your expectations? Yes. I will say the number one card will be the only card that we have banned. I kind of distaste, banning cards in general. I don't really like banning cards. But For the Cause is one that comes to mind. We knew it to be a good card. We didn't think it was going to be an oppressive card, and it kind of became a little bit oppressive in the meta. But there's other notable ones like Desert Locust. Desert Locust seems just like a generically okay Mars card, but it is a staple. There's hardly any Mars decks that I know of that don't run them. It's a auto include, so that one's definitely pulling its weight. Cloak Ghost. We knew Cloak Ghost was going to be a fun card. And it's a card that we felt will find its home in certain decks. But now with the current meta, it seems to be in almost every deck. So that's definitely another card that's pulling its weight. Um, Another question is, will set size or cards and set increase as more factions are added? What will you do a year from now when set 1 is sold out and the game's blowing up and all the newbies want the base card set? So, kind of a multi question question there. Yes, as more factions or alliances, if you will, are introduced to the game, inevitably we'll probably have to make our booster box size larger. We're not there yet, but it's something that um, we are planning for, and yeah, probably set sizes will increase in terms of cards per set. What we'll do if the game blows up and people are looking for the base set cards, we don't feel like we'll be reprinting the first set, maybe even the first couple of sets again. However, it doesn't mean that particular cards within those sets won't get reprinted. I do feel strongly that the game is a game first. Playability is a must, and it's something that the dev team has its focus on is the playability side of the game. Um, but there are collectors that enjoy shard bugs. I am also a collector of other TCGs, and so I also understand of cards being overprinted. We will have kind of a reserve list that we'll start developing as the game ages. So there's some cards in the base set or in a couple of first sets that won't get reprinted, but we feel like if there's staples that people are needing some, especially some commons and uncommons, and there's more players. Yeah, we'll definitely have ways to kind of bring back some of those staple cards into future sets, maybe with new art, as a way to kind of showcase the difference. All right, SwimCube, great set of questions. Enderman is has another question for us. Any more 1Ks for the tabletop on the way? And are there plans for an online version of the game? I believe we are bringing back one more online kind of. I'm not sure if it's going to be a 1K per se, but I know we have Kevmo that's working on a online TTS tournament that will have some fantastic prize support, and I believe it's going to be in the near future, in the upcoming weeks. But it's going to be for the people that have topped or have won the online games throughout the 2025 year. So it's going to be like a grand championship of sorts. So there'll be that. But yeah, I don't see why we wouldn't have at least one and or two 1K tournaments online in 2026. So look for that coming as well. Now we have a question from El Blanco 73. What systems are you putting into place right now to ensure Starbucks grows consistently, remains accessible to new players, and earns long-term confidence from stores, players, and collectors? So, fantastic question. It's a question that comes from a few different approaches, if you will. But first is on like the growth of the game. So, how are we growing the game? We're growing the game basically by advertising more. So I don't know. Some of you may have seen some ads lately on Facebook or IG or even YouTube. We're going to be doing more of that, especially as we come into 2026. We're also reaching out to more stores. We're reaching out to LGS stores on a daily, weekly basis. Um, if you go to shardbugstcg.com, you will see that we just onboarded today two new stores. We have Lone Star from Texas, and we have a new LGS from Mexico. So we have actually our first international LGS partner. So yeah, we're definitely pushing to gain more partnership and to grow the game that way, and through marketing as well. And how do we keep the game accessible to players is, for example, we printed a new batch of the set one, the bug eating booster, or the pre-con boxes. So we have pre-cons, they're inbound. We should get them actually sometime this week, and we actually have a group of LGSs waiting on those pre-cons. We're going to send them out as demo kits to those stores. They're going to try the game out with their local community. If they like it, hopefully we'll be onboarding a new batch of LGS stores that way. And on a collector base, It's basically, um, being strategic with what we're printing. So we're not, over printing future sets. Um, we're also, like I've stated earlier, we're going to have cards that are not going to be reprinted in the future. And, as you guys seen with our first couple of sets, you will continue to see, cards that are serialized cards and cards that have special alt arts and treatments. And it's a way that you can, bring, the base playable cards to the people to play, but also have variants of those cards that are for the collectors, for you guys to chase the serials and those secret cards, the secret alternate art cards. So there's something in Shard Bugs for players and collectors alike. El Blanco has another card or another question. If Shard Bugs were to experience a sudden surge in players or collectors, what systems are in place? What plans do you have to handle that grow smoothly? So basically, if we were to, quote unquote, go viral and just kind of grow really fast overnight for, whatever reason, um, that that comes down to the print run. So luckily, with our new release schedule next year, we're only a few months away. You're ever only a few months away from a new Shardbug set. So if we get a surge in collectors and players, um, will have we should have some stock, with the current set, um, and we'll gauge our next set's print run accordingly. We'll also be printing more of the precons and having precon something that's pretty rarely available for folks to play and to be able to restock stores with. So through strategic planning, through printing the right amount of these precon decks, and from kind of like having the pulse on what stores are wanting and needing, and the restocks they're asking for, we'll be able to gauge the next print run. So great question. El Blanco 73 also asks, what steps are you taking to build long-term confidence for players and collectors who are choosing to invest their time and money into shard bugs? Fantastic question. The real answer is time. Time, tells all. And we feel like we're not even a year old, but we've already kind of delivered what our promises were, right? So we came out with set one, we came out with set two, we came out with two reprintings of the set. Set two reprint will hit stores in January, and we're producing set three, and we're playtesting now for set four. So basically, just continuing to do the game and show to you all that the game's here to stay is one way to kind of instill confidence and trust into our community members. And we're opening. I mean, this is why we're doing the Q&A. We're kind of giving a progress report, and we'll continue to do these Q&As hopefully monthly, and we'll keep ourselves accountable. We'll tell you the progress. How many more new stores we onboarded this month, and um, you know our where we're at with the development of our current set, and what's coming down the pipeline. And so yeah, Q&A is being held accountable, and just showing that this is a game that's here to stay. So hopefully that answered your question. And with that, that's kind of the end of our Q&A. Thanks for watching. 2026 will be a great year for Shard Bugs. We have lots of conventions that we're planning. We're basically planning a convention every month. We have the most sets kind of like planned out, like we had anticipated for, three main core sets and a mini set. We'll hopefully bring those to fruition next year. We're gonna have an improved tournament circuit with a strategic partner. We're going to go to Gamma, which is a very strategic convention to go and to kind of pitch the game to new stores, and hopefully we get dozens of new stores. Our goal for next year is to have 100 LGS partners by the end of the year. So as we do these Q&As, we'll let hey, how we're progressing towards that goal. Sharbucks is a game that the whole development team behind it is putting a lot of work into it, and the community seems very receptive to it. You guys are having a blast. We see it from comments. We see it, from photos. People really just talking about the game through content creators. I think there's a good buzz around Shard Bugs TCG, and hopefully you guys had a fun time collecting and playing the game in 2025, and our next Q&A will be 2026. So have a great holiday season. Share with your friends and family. Hopefully, get a few Shard Bugs games in, and we'll see you in the new year. Thanks.